Welcome, everybody. Yes, you are in the right place. We have a big all-in live workout for you today. The workout itself, but also the guest. Today we have YouTube personalities, and we were discussing YouTube personalities. Is that really the best way to define these guys? They're multi-dimensional. They've raced both on the road, virtually. They've done just about everything you can do, but currently they are in lockdown in the UK. We have Cameron Jeffers here today, and we have Chris Pritchard here today. Very excited. Oh, and obviously we don't want to forget our illustrious leader here, Coach Neil Henderson, will be guiding us through the workout. So today is going to be action-packed, a little different than normal. I already see a ton of comments coming in, people choosing teams, choosing sides, who's going to beat who. Originally, we hadn't set this up as a competition, but I don't know, maybe there's an opportunity here for these guys to have some fun. But they'll be responding to some comments to you directly. Typically, we kind of hold some of the comments, but they are very used to managing live streams and answering your questions as they do so, take on everesting attempts, and communicate with you. So they'll be answering some questions today, talking about the state of kind of e-racing and virtual riding, as well as training for e-racing. And we'll get into it, but just to let you know, today's workout is the rookie. These guys are not rookies at all. Very well established in their own right. But if you want to join the workout and take part on your own trainer, go ahead and click the link down in the description below. All the information is there, as well as how to subscribe to the Sufferfest. That is all down in that description below. Let's go ahead and bring Coach Neil on real quick. Neil.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
How are you, man?
I'm doing well.
You have a good weekend? You ready for this?
I don't know if I'm ready for this. I had a good weekend. Went out Saturday, got a decent ride in, and hit some good numbers out on a local climb. And then yesterday I spent about 8 hours in the garden moving rocks and building out some new garden raised beds. So
we call that cross-training.
Thrashed. Yeah, I'm garden strong today. Bringing it.
I like that, garden strong. That's a good one. So we're gonna have Chris and Cam join us here in just a second. It looks like Cam just joined back on, and we'll get right into the workout. Tell us a bit about. Well, let's go ahead and bring them on, and then we'll have you tell us a bit about what the workout is.
Awesome.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Thanks, guys, for joining. Welcome to the Wahoo All-In live streams.
Thank you for having it. No, I just want to quickly tell you, Neil, when you start hearing Chris making sounds of a horse with his lips, that's when he's starting to suffer.
All right, little nail, and then.
I'm just glad this is not the Annihilator. As soon as I signed up to this, I thought they're going to make me do the Annihilator again. Oh my god! But when I saw the rookie, I was pleasantly surprised.
Are you doing
this is a little more your speed.
Or what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah.
That's what I was about to ask you. Are you guys set at 100%? Yeah. Wow.
Well, yeah. We just spoke to Neil, and he said make sure everything's at 100%. It's got to be legit.
Except for the old guy, I'm just going to be hanging out in the back. I'll be playing more the director, sportif role.
So those of you that are watching right now, if you're not sure what they're talking about the setting within the Sufferfest of actually how difficult that workout's going to be. Obviously, 100% is 100% difficulty matching up with your FTP and 4DP profile. These guys are definitely taking on the challenge today, going 100%. So, Chris.
Yeah. If you're not feeling as spry as these guys, then I've put my settings to 70% for AC targets, 80% for map targets, and 90% for FTP.
See, that sounds more like me. That does.
70, 80, 90. Yep.
I mean, it still sounds pretty painful. So.
Yeah, it's not an easy day. So we got 3 by 10 minute efforts effectively. That's kind of the gist of this.
See, that's a long ride for me. That is.
You guys are definitely in for it for sure. I'll go ahead and let you guys get down to the business at hand because you definitely have some work to do. And we'll catch up with you guys in a little while.
Cheers, Matt.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
All right,
Well,
fellas. Well, thanks for joining. Yeah, so this is a little under an hour workout. We got about 53 minutes and change. Make sure you get that pulled up. We're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. If you need to make adjustments in that, you go up to the settings in the upper right-hand corner, and that's where you can adjust individually the 40p metrics. If you turn off auto pause, that'll be helpful as well. And we'll get you started in 15 seconds.
We'll have to find out in the comments if anybody's taking part in this as well alongside us.
There's usually a few people that join along. I've seen a few people like, oh,
Good.
I'm doing it all at 100%. I'm like, better you than me, man.
Oh my God.
30 minutes and Chris the write-off.
Yeah.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Game on. And it starts with a little bit of a warm-up. So we do have a couple minutes easy at the beginning and at the end. Everything else in between, we got some work.
All right, just to make sure I'm clear on this one. No one else can see my screen and see how hard I'm going, can they?
No, they can only see mine. Yeah, that's the thing, with the Sufferfest, we kind of look at this as, you train your efforts, you do your thing, you prepare yourself, and then whatever you want to do with it, go have at it, right?
You shouldn't have told him that, Neil, because now he's just going to freewheel.
Well, I can
not try.
I've got a good pain face, so I can deploy that at any point. It's fine.
Oh, so you're saying you're a good actor, huh?
I'll let you be the judge of that.
He's a YouTuber, of course he's an actor.
Yeah, well, in this video, if anybody's watching at home, you'll see some superb acting by John Degenkolb and some other members of his team from a few years ago. Both John and I probably went to the same acting academy, and you guys.
I bet they're not acting, though, are they? I bet they're not acting. I bet they're full on trying.
Yeah, we'll see. You guys be the judge. For my best cameo is out of Team Scream. So, for those of you wondering at home how good my acting skills are, you can pull that up and decide for yourself.
Is Team Scream the Team Time Trial effort?
Yep, that is it. That's a lovely one.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite training sessions. That one.
Yeah, it's a favorite.
Yeah,
definitely. It's a good.
Especially when you've done the Annihilator prior to it, it feels like it almost feels like a warm down.
It's comfortable.
So Neil, this workout we're doing here, what am I going to gain out of it? What's the benefit of this one to me?
This workout is a bit more kind of targeting your FTP, but not just riding steady state. This has variation. So you guys do some racing. You have an idea that very rarely you're just riding steady for even 10 minutes at a time anywhere. In a training, sure, you can do it. But this version of it that we have in this workout has fluctuations clearly above FTP whenever you see those yellow targets in the workouts. It's going to be, especially if you're riding at 100%, that would be in excess of your FTP. And then there's little bits that dip kind of at and below. So we're working at trying to get 30 minutes of effort where the average power is probably pretty close to FTP. No normalized power, you're looking at those blocks, it would actually be a little bit above FTP. Right. So a little more simulating what happens in reality when you go ride with folks or do a race. That it's not just steady, it's up and down, up and down.
Yeah. You'll have to keep reminding me as well when we need to push, because I'm happy at this pace right now. I can do 55 minutes. I could do an hour at this pace.
Okay, we have 50 minutes left, so you got 10 minutes of reserve. So right now, this would be like perceived effort on a 0 to 10 scale, about a 4. So this would be like very low tempo effort is what I would consider this.
All right, I'm gonna have to slow down. I'm at a 9 right now.
Yeah, so think about like 60% of FTP or so right now. We're just getting warmed up, transitioning.
Oh no, I'm all right. I'm gonna bring my screen up so I can see it. So I don't.
Yeah, that way you're not riding blind. All right, we got John Degenkolb here showing off his fine skills. Absolutely.
Oh, right, yeah, now
skills.
We're talking. Yeah.
Yep. So the idea of this workout is like you're trying out as a kind of like a stagiaire for the team.
Oh, nice.
So
this is it, Chris. This is your big moment.
This is it. See if you get the step up. So we're going to bump up here right around 70% FTP, perceived effort like 5 out of 10 right now. Continuing that progressive warm up. Whew. So did you guys do big weekends or any racing or hard rides?
It was a big weekend for me. I did an hour and a half on Saturday. So yeah.
No, I did a few hours over the weekend. So
how many?
A bit of tiredness, but I'm not too bad.
Okay. Very good. Well, I had a good day Saturday. Got out on a climb. We're allowed to ride outside right now, and then yesterday I had to just do garden work. So I think my hamstrings are a little bit uncomfortable from all the moving stuff around. So we'll see how this goes.
So, am I right in thinking that you're at altitude as well, Neil?
Yeah, I'm in Boulder, Colorado. So it's about 5,800 feet here at my house.
Does it make a big difference, that? Do you notice it?
Yeah, it's noticeable. We generally see about for somebody who's acclimatized, like I live here now, I've been here for 20-some years, even though I travel a lot, but been here on the ground for several months and still say threshold power is at least 6 to 8% lower than it would be at sea level.
Really?
Somebody who just comes straight up here, 8 or 10% drop until they have some acclimatization. So right now, I'm in the 75% FTP, so working a little bit. Looks like my heart rate's slowly responding today.
Maybe that's my issue. Maybe I'm at altitude and I don't even realize it.
Possible. You've teleported.
You're looking for any excuse, Chris.
Hey, mate, I've got them all. I could write a book on them.
And a little bit more. Let's call this about 75%. FTP, about a 6 or so out of 10. Rolling along with the group.
Oh, so it's just a training ride for those boys. This is not a race. This is a training ride.
Yeah, right now they're just warming up. Yeah, they're getting ready. Yeah. Don't worry, though. We get into the racing action before too long. A couple minutes. Get a couple little primer efforts. Make sure that we're actually ready to go.
I think it's fair to say that this is not a competition, is it, Cam? Come on. And I've noticed a few people in the comments saying, who's seen Chris? I'd say it's a little bit harder to compete in this style of training ride. I mean, you can make anything a competition, though. I'm a pretty competitive person. And here we go, up to about 80%. Yeah, I think actually one of the favorite comments I ever got was from Sir Jamie Staff telling me that I'm probably one of the most competitive people he'd met. He was on my coaching staff. From Jamie Staff?
Yep, so he's a guy who's pretty competitive too.
I remember back in the day, so before I did road cycling, I was a BMX racer. And Jamie Staff used to come down to the BMX track and coach me and the other guys. But back then, I had no idea who he was or his accolades or anything.
Oh man, he's got some
pretty
skills.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Yep. I've watched him in just sneakers and jump on the rollers and hit 200 RPM to tell an athlete that they needed to try harder and stop.
You say he's got some skills, Neil, but I remember the last time I saw him race, and he was setting up for a flying 200, and he completely mistimed his wind up to it. And on the bell lap, he was still around the top of the track.
Oh no!
Circulating the top of the track. It was hilarious.
Counting those laps can be tricky. The flying 200.
I'm setting my final.
Yeah. So we get a little recovery right now before we get a big hit here. About 50% FTP right now, maybe 55. Pedal and breathe.
Now.
Yeah, we went out on a training ride, a couple of the coaches, including Jamie, myself, and Ben Sharp, back with our 2012 team. And we were in Mallorca, and we went up a climb, and I was fairly fit. And Jamie was just absolutely going inside out. And he was there the whole way up the climb. I was like, geez.
Really?
Like I'm pushing, not no hero or anything, but pushing 4 watts per kilo for 20, 30 minutes, and Jamie's hanging right on there.
Up there.
He makes some power. definitely. That's the crazy thing. Those kind of sprinter capacity. I mean, he was probably 2,400, 2,500 peak watts
Easy,
back in his prime, which is phenom level.
Wow.
He was like that.
Cam, are you actually working?
Mate, I'm doing 332 watts right now.
I was going to say, right now you should be somewhere near threshold for this opener.
You're looking too easy.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm dying.
All right. Keep breathing 1 more second, and there we go. 2 minutes easy. Oh, they're filling up.
Oh, that was nice.
Getting ready to go full gas here. Whew. Okay, we got 1 minute and 45 seconds to recover. Get your head in the right place for these 10-minute blocks.
Wait, was that not an effort? Was that not
Nah, that was just warm up. That was warm up. That's making sure you're ready to go. All right. So right now you should be just cruising along, maybe 50%, even 45% FTP if you want.
Yeah.
Totally okay with that. I just bumped up my settings because I tested last week, so my fitness is on the rise, so that just makes everything harder.
Look at you.
Good news, bad news.
Yeah.
So I know this session, for example, everything's relative to our own FTPs. You know, I'm there, I was doing 320 watts, Chris is probably doing like 250. Is watts per kilo completely relative, or is it still harder to produce those watts the fitter you get, if that makes sense?
Generally, it's more relative. So like an easy ride for you guys, one of you might, 300 watts, just, long, steady for a while. You can do that. For me, I can do 300 watts for 20 minutes and I kind of stop and throw up.
Yeah.
Watts per kilo, I'm probably putting out less watts per kilo as well for that same effort. My heart rate, actually the other day was probably about 165 to do that with a max of 172. And I'm done. So definitely there's that individual relative effort. Someone else in easy ride might be 100 watts.
Hey, Chris and Cam, I'm getting a lot of requests to see your guys' power data. Could you share your screens and I'll pull that up?
I can try.
Here we go. Effort
right as we get into the work.
I'm in there, but don't worry about that, Neil.
Okay, you guys can do it. So right now you should be cruising, around 85 or so percent of FTP. If you're running the workout at 100%, you're going to be pretty close, about to 95%. So just a touch under FTP right now. Let's see how long I can keep talking. We're 30 seconds into this effort, and I feel that it might get challenging. So I'll ask you guys some questions once it gets harder. So settling into the effort, think about, upper body. If you're all tensed up here, makes your breathing harder and just you're wasting energy. So relax your shoulders a little bit.
There we go. There's my numbers.
There we go.
66 beats a minute. Woo!
Man, how high do you go?
At 205.
Jeez, 205. I've never seen that.
Leave us, Chris.
180 back in the day. Not as high as I ever went.
I used to be up around there. Back in the heyday. Yeah, 193 now, maybe.
Not bad. Heart rate is kind of like RPMs in a car. Like some people have a higher heart rate. So like car engine, if you got a turbo 6-cylinder, might top out at like 8,000 RPM. But if you got a big V10, might only go 5,000 RPM max. So hearts are kind of like that. You guys can be pinging up in the 190s, 200s, or I'm maxed out at 170.
Yeah, I'm only at 150 right now, which is strange because I'm normally higher than that.
We'll see. We get a little ease off here. Good work.
Does that mean I'm getting fitter or unfit, Neil?
There's two different things that happen. Long term, heart rate for an absolute power goes down. So for 300 watts, as you get more fit, heart rate will go down a little bit. When you're really fatigued, though, like right after an immediate block, of hard riding and racing, you can see your heart rate drop down. And it's not that you're more fit. It's just you get a big plasma volume expansion from those hard days. Mm-hmm. And then your heart rate drops a bit. You can also get, like, over weeks of hard block efforts, you'll get a decrease in your sympathetic nervous system, which basically drops down your heart rate at max. Mm-hmm. So, like, during a grand tour, we see upwards of 20 beat per minute drop in peak heart rate from day 1 to day 21.
Really? How long does it take a rider to completely get over the fatigue from a grand tour?
It depends on their role and how they have to ride it.
Yeah.
So, like, in some cases, the guys who are working for their team leaders do more average work day in and day out, riding the front at 300 some for 4 hours. That adds up in a different way than a GC rider who's just smashing out those 450 watt climbs and TTs and then saving everything else in between. And then you have sprinters who go full gas for 20, 30 seconds in the 5 minutes leading up to that. But then they've got to go sometimes inside out to make the time cut. So they're getting crashed in a different way.
I think it'd be interesting to see that one day on a stage. Ignore the front group and just watch the sprinters suffer over the climbs.
Seriously, they're working. And the crazy thing is, too, when you think of, like, Pro Tour riders, you're like, oh, they're not a climber. They're still having to hold close to 5 watts per kilo to make the time cut on every climb.
Oh, yeah, they pretty much smash just about any, average climber, wouldn't they?
Exactly. That's the difference. It's just the scale is nutty. Ooh, good work. We're going to get a little ease off again here. A couple seconds to pedal and breathe. Well, you can keep pedaling all the time.
So Neil, while I've got you here, did you invent the Annihilator?
Violator? Yeah.
Violator.
Yeah. That is my handiwork, yes. I drew inspiration from some others, though, because I'm a sprinter. So I've hit over 40 of those 60 some efforts with a peak of over 1,000 so far. That's doing it at altitude.
How many did you get, Chris?
I think I missed out on 2 of them. So
nice.
So while we did the tour of Sufferlandria, I was streaming the Violator.
Yeah.
And David came in, and I was in a dark place, and I was like, right, I'm giving up, I'm stopping. And he said, for every sprint you hit over 1,000, we'll donate $10 to the charity.
Nice.
So that was it. I was like a red rag to a bull, and I just turned myself inside out. But I've got to say,
well done.
After the tour, I don't know if it's because I put myself in such a box, but 2 weeks later, I felt amazing.
That period of overload, that was 9 days for you probably. It's an overload.
Almost.
Once you recover from that, you can get a bump. Now, doing 2 of those back-to-back, you might not see as much of a bump.
Right.
If you get too tired. So it's always a balancing act.
And actually, I suppose getting through them as well.
Yes. And what you do, how you're recovering day to day, has a big impact, right?
Yeah.
So your nutrition, your sleep, stress management, all those things.
Yeah.
Like, if you think of a grand tour.
I really enjoyed that tour of Sufferlandria. It was good fun.
Yeah, that day. So that was, I think it was Wednesday, was Violator, and I'd actually flown back from the UK that morning. And that afternoon, jumped on the bike and got it done.
No way.
And I had a great day. You wouldn't have expected it. I would not have predicted it. But it was just a good day. Nice and easy here. Well, relatively speaking, like 70% right now. Little breathe. Relax for the last 2.5 minutes or so.
How you feeling, Chris?
I'm pretty solid. I feel all right.
Yeah.
My heart is definitely not up there. which is slightly worrying, but.
All right, here comes a strong effort. If you've adjusted down as we have, you'd be probably picking right around 95% or so.
Yeah, the bar's yellow. It's definitely yellow.
Yeah, if you're running this 100%, you're well over FTP. So stay with it. Relax into the effort. Keep your shoulders down. Try to use the diaphragm to breathe. Not just all those big chest and intercostal muscles, but use that belly breathing. Do you guys just adjust your position for riding and racing indoors versus what you do outside, or are you on the same bike and position?
I'm on the same position. In the past, I have altered it. But that's because my old race bike was a real aggressive position. So I basically raised the front end a little bit. But at the minute, I'm running in the same position. Do you find many people do that?
Some. Generally, it's easier just to stick with what you're used to.
Okay.
But if what you have, like a TT bike, if you're just full setup aero, then you might find trouble trying to hold the same power inside. So you just have to make the appropriate adjustments to the position and bike.
Actually, speaking about that, I tend to just raise my kicker up my climb up just a tiny bit, just so like Cam, it's not as aggressive on the front end and it's slightly more upright.
That's a good move. We got less than a minute left here. Still a strong yellow target here. It's actually going to ease off a touch for us if you've made the same adjustments. Still not easy though if you want to stand. I would recommend shift down a gear or two because your RPM are going to drop when you stand.
Cam, do you want to take that question or shall I? Niels is asking any tips on a 4DP?
Rest well before it. Don't underestimate it.
What I didn't realize when I came to do my first 4DP was there's a whole protocol that you should follow the week prior to it.
Yeah.
I just decided one day I'm going to do it. So what's that, Neil? Is that just to try and prepare yourself for it and so you come into it fresh?
Correct. So the 40P, our goal is to really assess what your maximum capacity is. If you come into it rested, it's not truly going to be the best reflection of what you can do. So it's appropriate for the 40P to take it like you would a low-level race. So an appropriate amount of rest, recovery is what's going to allow you to push each one of those. And the other thing on the test, just take one at a time. Start with your sprints, then your 5 minute. Don't think about what happens after. Just do that 5 minutes. And then I also recommend getting off the bike for those two little sections after the 5 minute and 20 minute for like a minute. It's just a good mental reset. And so 1 minute at the end.
20 minutes long.
Yeah, the 20 minutes is a bugger. So we know that 20 minute is lower than like your highest ever 20 minute because you've done a maximal 5 minute effort just a few minutes before it. But that's what's more reflective of what is sustainable for you. That's why we use that protocol. And then the 1 minute at the end is just because I'm mean.
I guess the idea is obviously to get that profile of of what you are capable of. And like you say, I suppose if you come into it too fresh or you just do a 20-minute effort, it's not going to be a true reflection, and the training won't really reflect your strengths, your weaknesses, and really nail exactly what you're trying to achieve out of it, I guess.
Correct. And that's really the key of assessing where you're at. And the other thing that we look at with those is the interrelationship of the variables. So like the rider type isn't necessarily like, going to be compared to everyone else, like what your values are. It's actually the interrelationship of your 5 second, 5 minute, 20 minute, 1 minute efforts. And so it tells us about where your strengths relative to those levels are.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's not to compare to others, it's you versus you, and being able to choose workouts or a training plan that we have developed for a certain weakness to improve those areas. And again, we're not trying to make if somebody has like a neuromuscular weakness, let's say, like sprinting, we're not trying to make them into a sprinter. We're just doing some work to address that weakness and minimize it.
Yeah. So, and how often would you do them? Would it only be at the start and after you've tried a training program, or after a specific event?
Yeah, we like to say, around 12 weeks between full frontal is an appropriate kind of timing. You can do what the other workout test that we've just released a couple weeks ago, the half Monty, in between that, like 4 or 6 weeks between those kind of evaluations. But full frontal, we like to see a few months because we know it is good.
Tell us about the half Monty then.
Half Monty is basically a 2-part test. There's a ramp that starts pretty easy, and then you just ramp up every minute, go harder until you tap out. So kind of like if you did a VO2 max test in the lab or some of the other ramp tests, very similar. We just use your max aerobic power as a target, a certain percentage of that. We then have a second part. So let me just let everyone know in 3 seconds, we're going to start effort number 2. Here we go. So the second one that we do, second part of the half Monty, is a 20-minute effort, but it's constrained to have your heart rate as a target, but be staying below your FTP.
Oh, right.
So that we're able to get a very good calculation of your FTP from the combination of those 2 efforts. And so I did that. Actually, I did half Monty last Thursday and showed, the work I've been doing. Got some bumps in both max aerobic power and FTP. And so then actually Saturday, I went out to do just a 20-minute full tilt effort. I just wanted to see what I could do. I didn't do the max 5-minute before. I just wanted to see. I haven't ridden over 300 watts for 20 minutes in a few years. So I set that goal. I went out, and my FTP from half Monty was 286 watts on Thursday. Yeah. On Saturday, going full out for 20 minutes, I was able to average 301. Now, I couldn't have gone 10 more seconds of that effort. I was tapped out. Yeah. I was above my FTP. So if I were to go and do a longer effort, I would very much stay close to that 285, 286 range.
Yeah.
You've got a great skill of being able to talk whilst pushing down power.
Yes. It's not
easy.
It's a skill. Remember the altitude advantage too. I got to breathe a little harder for the same effort.
all right.
Less pressure here.
But don't forget, Neil, you're about 10 times, at least 10 times fitter than I am right now.
At least older.
Hey, age ain't nothing but a number, right?
It's true. Yeah, like I said, I'm getting closer to 50 at this point, and I hit the highest 20-minute power I've done in like 4 years the other day. So, and that's training 8 or 10 hours a week. Specificity in these sessions. Every Monday, Wednesday, I usually do something quality, and then on the weekend, I do some mix.
So if you had this information, this knowledge now when you were 15, 16, and you put it to use back then, would we be talking to a Tour de France legend?
I don't know if I would have made it that far. I would have had better success on the track.
Right.
Probably made it to the Olympics, but would have had a little more accomplishments there. Like I can still do 20 seconds at 1,200 watts.
Oh, geez.
Wow. So back then, if I were properly trained, I would have been in the 1,1600.
Yeah, you'd be dangerous.
I would have had a skill. All right, little recovery. But I actually did triathlon way back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
you've done it ass backwards then. Normally,
exactly.
Cyclists can't cycle anymore. They go to triathlon.
Switch over. Yeah, I worked full time during my raced as an elite, as a professional in triathlon for a few years, but worked full time the whole way. So I was only training 14 or 16 hours. And most of the guys I was racing against were 20, 25, even 30 hours. I could still beat at least half of them consistently, sometimes more than that. But just had to be smart with what I had. So I didn't
That's why you're here now.
exactly. I can still do it 20 some years later. Like I retired from racing triathlon at the elite level, 16, 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And still doing okay, having some fun.
So there's still time for me yet.
You got some opportunities. Maybe we can teach you how to swim and have something chase you. And
if you've ever seen me swim, I used to work for a fitness channel, and they made me do some tips on swimming, and she put me in the pool, and literally after 5 minutes, she went, "Get out. We'll just do a voiceover."
Never mind. Awesome. You got to know where your limits are.
Yeah, I can ride a bike. That's about it. Just.
It's good to know your strength.
As long as it's on a trainer.
Yeah, weaponize your strength, right?
Exactly. Cam, how many hours are you training?
At the minute,
yeah,
about 15.
Nice. Do you feel that that's enough? Do you feel like you could do more, want to do more, or?
I mean, at the minute, it's not a lot to target for, so it kind of feels pointless to do more. But yeah, I'm just, at the minute, focusing more on the indoor racing side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried a couple of those. It doesn't work well for us at altitude. And for sprinters either. I tried the crit stuff, and there's no sprinting in those criteriums. Like I do one sprint and then I get dropped. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not really enjoying this. But
yes,
there's purpose for it though.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely has its place nowadays, doesn't it? And it's establishing itself a bit more as the years go by.
Definitely. And there'll probably be new tweaks to it too in different formats. Be interesting.
So, Neil, how are your professionally coached riders? How are they coping with this?
It's a mix. So pretty much everyone we've reduced volume.
Yeah.
To some degree, a large, 50%. Some people only more like 20 or 30% from normal, depending whether they could get outside or not. So I've got some people that live where they've got access to ride outside, and then those that have been full lockdown. So clearly some differences there. Also, some riders can do a couple hour session on the ergo, and it doesn't really mentally crack them. And others, 90 minutes, and their head is done in. So you have to balance out how much.
How are you finding ways to motivate your coaching clients through this time? Are people struggling with motivation because of lack of racing, or?
It's for sure an issue. So it's finding alternative targets, assessing where you're at with some, doing like the half Monty session, and then a few days later do the full frontal and compare where they're at.
Yeah.
And then do block of training, but typically with a little less full intensity work than they normally would preparing for races. So it's talking, understanding where they're at, and in some cases we can address areas that have been like a weakness with this kind of focus. And so just enough of that. If you make every session though the kind of stuff somebody doesn't like, they don't have much positive motivation.
And is everyone planning around the current UCI calendar coming into play?
Right now we're looking at it. Yep.
Yeah.
It's basically August, September as of right now is where we got some targets.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just find out in time what is possible.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Nice work. We got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left here in this one. It ends up with a nice flurry. So buckle up. Whew.
I certainly feel more 9 out of 10 than 7.5 out of 10 right now.
How you feeling, Chris?
Yeah. Give me 5 minutes, mate, please.
So let's see if you can rev up those RPMs up to around 110. You guys do any high RPM work?
Yeah, coming from the track, I've done I've done a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably don't do enough as I should, as much as I should.
Yeah, just coordination. Good work back up. I'd like to see some riders mean maximal cadence curve more so than their power curve.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
There's something to it.
Oh, definitely. I think years of the track, I think track riders develop a very good pedal stroke.
Yeah.
I think that's helped me.
Yeah. And that's probably more when racing then was in the 120s, 130s, like in a team pursuit. Now I see a lot more teams rolling a bigger gear, not quite as high in RPM.
Yeah, everything's big gears now on the track, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy. Whew. Good work. Got just a minute to go. Coming back up here. This is nice that it just breaks up the efforts into little chunks. Good work. Coming into the finish here. Ooh,
go!
Big effort.
Go on, boy, off the wheel.
There it is. Got to fight for every spot there.
Gonna get boxed in here.
Come on, mate. Use your talent to get through this.
Easy.
Get ready. Oh, boy. Last bit. Strong finish. One more punch. This is it. 10 seconds. And yowzers. That's going to leave a mark. Woo! I might have gone a little overboard on the cadence there.
Oh, that was good fun, that.
Yowzers.
Cam, what'd you get up to? What was your peak power then?
Peak?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't sprinting. Were you sprinting?
No, I mean, I weren't sprinting, but I was pushing. I was like 600 watts instead of the prescribed.
All right, well, I was sticking to this prescribed session, all right.
It's hard. When someone says sprint, that's it. I'm like
a red rag to a bull, are you?
Yeah.
I'm running in erg mode, so I can't really exceed the power targets too much. I can exceed the cadence, though. That's what I did there.
So let's talk erg mode, because I'm currently using my Roam to control it. What's the best way of doing it?
You know, it depends. Depends on your goal and the type of workout. Short on off definitely is better to do in level mode, where you just have to shift to hit the targets. Something that has a little more steady state, then erg mode has its place. So for me, just because my keyboard's out of reach, and this way I can talk and just pedal and breathe and talk, I'm going with erg mode just because it makes that little bit easier. One less thing to think about for me.
It just terrifies me in case I get caught up in it and I just can't turn the pedals.
Same. Yeah. I feel like when I like to ride in and out of the saddle quite a lot, and when you're trying to constantly change the cadence, sometimes it can be quite hard to maintain that erg mode.
It is definitely tougher in those situations.
Like I started with it, and you saw me messing with my mouse there. I actually just turned it off.
Yeah. No, that's smart. Also smart maybe to take a drink right now. I know I'm sweating. Even with my headwind going full bore, I'm needing some fluids here.
I need the opposite of a drink right now.
What's that?
Mm.
Well, I don't think we can take nature breaks during the live stream, can we?
Seconds. You don't want to miss out, man. You don't want to get dropped.
No, I'm about to say there's more than 48 seconds worth of fluid there.
Chris is an old man now. It takes him more than 40 seconds.
Although I could just go now and no one would know.
Nobody would know. You know, like they say with Iron Man.
Not even you would know.
Wait, I think I might have.
Yeah, never touch a triathlete's seat because they kind of tend to make like lava and go with the flow.
Go on, Neil. I've never been able to do that.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
For
especially in the winter here in the UK.
Yeah, here we go. Last effort. I guess though, could keep you warm temporarily.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Yeah, for 10 seconds, and then the wind hits it,
and then it's trouble. Yeah, then it's worse.
Yeah, apparently people do it in races, like when it's raining and stuff. You never know who you should be pedaling behind.
Yeah, don't follow that wheel.
Oh, that's not spray off. It's not spray off the road, is it?
In Belgium, you can't tell though.
No, that's true.
When it's spring season in the farms, everything getting spread. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so we got lots of farm country. So rainy, everything just
But is that where Trexler Town is, Neil?
It's nearby. I'm like an hour and a half away from there. I grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where the chocolate's made.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
it's a good job I didn't live there.
Yeah. Good work, fellas. Try to get that cadence back up after that standing effort. That makes it tough. Ooh. Yeah, I'm feeling this.
Good, so am I.
I don't know about you guys.
You're the only one. Yeah.
Good work. Oh boy.
Normally I talk a lot more than this.
Yeah, can be distracting. Trying to talk.
It helps me. As long as I'm hitting the watts, then please somebody talk and take my mind off of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you like, Chris, when you're training, do you like people shouting at you to go harder, or do you like being in your own head?
It depends.
Yeah.
If there was a graph, it'd go up fairly steadily of positivity, and I'd enjoy it, and then it just hit a wall.
Yeah.
When people tell you to go harder,
and you're
like,
yeah,
you just want to tell them to do one.
Once you're over the limit.
So back when I was BMX racer, we had a funny one. Parents would always stand in the final straight, and they'd be shouting "pedal to the line," and you're like, "Of course I'm going to pedal to the line. I'm racing."
Shut up, Dad.
Yeah. The harder I go, the sooner I'm done. Except for these kind of workouts.
So is that what kind of coach you are, Neil? Do you get on the phone to him and be like, "Come on, I want every last pedal stroke out of you"?
Why didn't you ride yesterday?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm pretty mellow. I let people manage their own choices. I believe that ultimately, if I do a good job as a coach, they don't necessarily need me. They just want me.
Yeah.
Chat with them and catch up and have an objective viewpoint rather than be dependent on that. Because if you don't have your own motivation, you're not going to go very far in this sport.
Yeah, true. How hard is it to stay? How is it to stay? I totally forgot what I was going to say. How hard is it to plan a structured training? Because when I used to personal train and things like that, it scared the hell out of me setting somebody a program and then it potentially being wrong. How do you know you're going to get it right?
How do you know you're
always
coach?
know, but it does take a while for me to get to know an athlete. To be really effective, I would say it takes more than a year.
Yeah.
The athletes that I've worked with that have had the greatest success generally, it's somewhere several years into it. Not that they haven't had success before then, but the best comes 2-3 years into it usually.
Yeah.
And that's just me understanding them understanding me, and being able to hit the right approach.
So Neil, for some of my viewers that maybe are in here and they might not have heard of you before, what are some of the biggest accolades you've got to your name in terms of your athletes? What are the biggest results that they've achieved?
Well, let's see.
Have we got enough time?
That's true.
Can start with the top. I mean, Rowan Dennis,
Yeah.
Two-time world champ in the ITT. Won Grand Tour stages in all 3 Grand Tours. And then, let's see, hour record with him as well. Evelyn Stevens, hour record.
Yeah.
Only American winner of the Flesh Wallone. Been in the pink jersey at the Giro d'Italia for women.
So basically everything.
Yeah. Kasia Niewiadoma, Amstel Gold. Let's see, Taylor Finney, stage at the Giro, Olympic 4th place in TT and Road Race 2012. As an Olympian 2008 at age 18, he'd set a junior individual pursuit world record. Those are a few of them. I've got a few more, but
it seems the only thing is missing, Cam, is a Commonwealth Games success. So
second place for Ron.
Damn!
Did you go to the commies?
I was hoping that was going to be my big comeback. Get me on board.
Chris, you have talked about a comeback for quite a while now. So when is it happening?
I have. Well,
2014 wasn't in Scotland for the TT.
Glasgow, yeah.
Glasgow, yeah, because Rowan was second there. Darn
All
it.
right, I'll let you have that. So you have literally done everything then.
Yeah. Had a triathlete take bronze in 2014 Commonwealth Games. Flora Duffy.
Oh, nice.
I don't coach Flora anymore, but I coached her for 8 years, I guess.
Is there a specific discipline you enjoy coaching more than others?
I kind of like them all. They just present different challenges. So, I mean, I have track athletes. I work with our U.S. women's team pursuit program. So, 2012 and 2016 silver medals there, and world championship title in 2016. I was one of the sports athletes. I wasn't primary coach, but doing a lot of the sports science back end with them. With triathlon, even I like ITU, Xterra, Ironman. They all kind of play they're very different sports, honestly. Even within that, and road cycling, I mean, you get a one-day classics rider like Taylor versus more of a GC rider versus a sprinter. And so I think, there's a lot of mix and things that keep it interesting for me. I don't like to just be bored doing the same.
Has there ever been an athlete that you've refused to work with?
Yeah.
Not naming names.
Yeah.
Come on, let's give us some juice on the live stream.
I've said no.
Let's try and get an article on the Cyclomedia website.
Yeah. I'd say if I don't feel like I can provide the right structure that they're looking for, like if my approach and theirs are different, I've said no to world tour riders.
So that's a polite way of you saying if they're a bit of an arsehole, I won't work with them.
I don't feel like I can. I'd rather not.
Don't be putting words in his mouth, Chris.
I don't know. Hey, it's the same. When I was personal training, it was the same. There were people who clearly wouldn't work right or didn't have the right attitude, and
but
kind of get rid of someone else.
You're not a personal trainer anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have somebody who's coming to the table and willing to listen. Somebody
definitely.
just wants to validate their own ideas. We can go elsewhere. We can have a dialogue about different things. And I change my ideas on things over time.
Yeah.
But sometimes I've had athletes where they're just so set in stone. It's like, well, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And if you know what you want to do, then
do it.
Have at it. You don't need to keep paying me. That's one thing I don't coach athletes for free. There's no value. They don't have value for it. I don't either.
When you've got that amount of knowledge and skill, though, you should be giving that away for free, should you?
Generally not. They'll all help kids.
Although Cam gives away
Sam Bennett for $100 a month or something like that when he was, before he had taken the step up.
Yeah.
Because knew he had potential and he was very open and he had good successes and he's at the top of things now. I don't coach him now. It's been a couple of years, but help him get back to that level, which is fun.
You ready, Chris?
Here it comes.
Born ready.
Born ready.
So since your erg's off, come on then. Competition. Let's
There
go.
we go.
Max watts.
I'm just going to go for RPMs.
Whoosh! He did
I
me
am
on the
blown
line.
up.
He did
Ouch.
me.
That hurt.
Woo!
Well done,
How's your
fellas.
hit, Cam?
Cheers, Neil. Who got that?
I'm
Was it
pedaling
Bert Fish?
backwards. Note for those of you, if you ever crack in erg mode, just pedal backwards. Keep
Really?
your legs moving. Just keep your legs moving.
Oh, good thinking, yeah.
Need to get that blood flow returning. Whew. Wow. All right. And then I can go back forwards again.
So Chris, what was your wattage in that sprint?
Don't lie. Don't lie.
1440.
Oh, come on. I want proof. I want proof.
Wait,
Because I think Cam had, what'd you have, Cam? Just about 1200 there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I have a sneaky suspicion Cam put in a little bit more work during the workout.
Hey, my wattage is 1,343. So
all right.
There
All
you
right,
go.
wait there. Let me check my room.
here we go.
It'll be your 1401.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you got you. Neil,
1492 is
do you
2
care?
horsepower.
Do you care to share, Neil?
I can't see it. I just have it on the app, so that's how
Yeah.
I finished the workout. It wasn't very high in erg mode. I saw 700 something, but so nothing
Nice.
special.
You let the
But
youngsters
I'll do Violator with these
show
guys
off. Never. Never.
One more time. It gets better every time you do it.
Oh,
Yeah, it says the coach. Yeah, it's totally fine.
If it didn't work last time, try it again this time. We'll see.
Hey, Matt, how was it for you, Matt? Was it quite hard for you as well?
Oh, it was tough over on this side, man. I'll tell you
Get
what.
up to like 75.
Yeah, I actually should. One of these days, I should actually wear a heart rate monitor while I watch you guys work out and see if because I watch them sometimes and I see the workout and I'm like itching to do it. I'm like, oh. No, I did my work yesterday and I did what is it? Oh man, I can't remember the name of it. It's a climbing one. It's thin air. I did thin air yesterday.
So that's a steady long.
That's
effort.
like a solid FTP. Like you're right at
Yeah.
FTP or above the whole time for like an hour, and I suffered. The last 8 minutes was.
Yeah, that was
I
at the end
suffered
of the
a lot.
Tour of Sufferlandria. That was the last stage of the Tour of Sufferlandria. One of the
Man.
six. That was now
I-
gnarly.
I did not know what I was getting myself into yesterday when I took that on, and I
Regret
the
it.
last 8 minutes, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. I was like 35 minutes in, it's not bad. This is doable,
Yeah.
totally fine. And then I got to that like 15-minute mark, and I just about died.
Christ.
Trying to crank it over. But Cam, you bring up a good point, with erg mode, especially as you start to see cadence drills change, and even like if you're sprinting and stuff. And we had a question actually in the comments about when is kind of an appropriate time to use erg mode versus level mode. And I want to get your guys' perspective real quick on this because I think it's a really interesting point. And it does set you up for success in training effectively indoors. Erg mode, I think, is really good for longer kind of sustained efforts.
Yeah.
And then level mode tends to be a lot better if you're going to be changing cadence a lot, or if you're going to be changing short, snappy efforts like sprint workouts. Would you guys agree with that assessment?
Yeah, definitely. I notice when I'm doing like a 20-minute effort, for example, like 3 times 20, say, I'll use erg mode for that, just so I can kind of find my rhythm and then sit at it for 20 minutes. But like for sessions like that where I'm in and out of the saddle, personally, I just find it a lot easier to go. I think I was on level 5 there and just flick through the gears that way and just match the power.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've started using levels, and I found that like such a game changer, especially when I want to change my cadence. When you are on that erg mode and you want to just go up an extra 10 RPM to 110, it can sometimes, or at least it used to for me. I used to be really struggling with that, but with the level, bang, just change a few levels, get straight up to that cadence. So I guess it's all personal preference because Neil, you were using erg mode then, weren't you?
Yeah. I did erg mode for that one. Just a little bit easier to talk and not have to think about shifting.
I think it's also worth mentioning that, with the Sufferfest, those cadences are really kind of prescribed in there so that, you have a physiological effect,
Yes.
from the wattage that you're putting out. So it's not just about hitting the number, right? It's also about like, is it a muscular or is it, a cardio? Like kind of where is it really physiological effect?
Yep.
So,
the same power at a different cadence can have clearly a different demand. So,
but we've all been in the situation where you shift, right? And you go to and you change your cadence a tiny bit, and you're in erg mode, and all of a sudden you're just like,
yep, bang.
That's the end of the effort. I can't do it.
Boom. Yep.
Yeah.
So Neil, you're saying that the same wattage at a different RPM, works you differently physiologically. You work in different muscle groups, and it's a different strain on your muscle.
Mm-hmm. And even on your cardiovascular system. So we actually had somebody not too long ago last summer in the lab, and we did the same power output, but went from, I think, either 40 or 60 RPM at the low up to at least 120 at the high. And looking at the change in respiratory rate, heart rate, and even VO2 for that same power output across those cadences was significant.
Really?
Yeah, like heart rate, almost, I think, 16 beats per minute for the same power from comparing the lower cadence to the higher cadence, and VO2 almost 10%.
So would you prescribe somebody's workout based on how they reacted the cadences?
Correct. Yes. So like right now, I'm having more folks do a little bit of big gear work right now. Just you get the muscle force and tension like you would from doing FTP effort, but you keep the heart rate and respiratory rate lower. So you get more of a peripheral load at the muscle than a cardiovascular load. And then, after doing a kind of a block of more strength, then we'll throw in a little bit more higher cadence work and get that cardiovascular system tuned up.
And that's where thin air really gets you, is because it adjusts those cadences. And if you really try to prescribe to the suggested cadences, I can still put out the wattage, right? If I really want to, but I can't do it the way that maybe it would be required late in a race like that. And that's where the light bulb kind of goes on when you're using those prescribed plans, is you're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. This is looking at it from a holistic standpoint. It's not just about hitting the number, right?
Correct. Yeah. Adjusting a little bit, sometimes the power target, and you can do that better for sure in level mode. To hit those cadence targets will help expand that range for you.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to swallow when you're not quite making it through a workout. And you're like, I can hit the numbers. I know I can hit the numbers.
Yeah, but you always
exactly. I just try to hold myself accountable to it, and it's been paying off, because I, like you, Neil, I did my half Monty test on first time I've done it since we released it, and I was happy with the results. I've been putting in the work, and so I was very happy with the results. So I'm sticking to it. So well, guys, I appreciate thanks for joining today. This was a blast. A lot of comments. I'm sure you'll be able to go into the comments kind of post live stream here and answer some questions, and there are a lot of we'll call it trash talking. So have fun with that. Have fun with that for sure. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to if there's anything, what's coming up next for you guys, if you guys want to tease out anything you're working on, let viewers know, because I know a lot of them probably follow you guys already, but this is a good opportunity to kind of tell them what you're working on.
Yeah, well, I've got a burger in the oven that I'm about to eat, so I'm looking forward to that.
and a bathroom break, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I just say, people who follow me, they'll know what we're up to, and plenty of live streaming, plenty of cycling news, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if the Tour de France goes ahead, we'll be out there doing a bit of reporting out there, really. Hopefully with Cam.
Yeah, and I guess same for me, doing a little bit more of the Zwift racing, whilst there's no racing outside. And also now, hopefully, I'm going to be able to get back outside and film some more kind of adventure content, which is what my kind of the premise of my channel is all about. So yeah, that's the plan for me.
Yeah, I want to see. I missed that from your channel. And with all this going on, the digital stuff, the virtual stuff is great, but I miss the adventure stuff. It'd be cool to see you do like a whole series of just like out your back door sort of adventures.
Yeah, that is what's coming. I'm going to be doing some trips and adventures within my county. So I'm not going to be traveling too far from home, but hopefully it should be some pretty cool and adventurous stuff. So yeah.
All right, on.
Love it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again, and we will we'll catch up with you guys real soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Neil. It was a pleasure.
Enjoyed it.
Ish. It was a pleasure, Ish.
It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, that was a blast. A lot of fun for sure. Those guys are legends for joining today, and putting in the work, doing 100% of the effort, and answering your questions and talking with us the whole time. So thanks to Chris for joining, and of course Coach Neil Henderson, who is our lead sports scientist over at the Sufferfest, and all those workouts and workout plans, him and his team developed these specifically for you to reach your goals. During this time, if you are doing a lot of virtual e-racing, one thing that's worth mentioning is the Sufferfest does have an e-racing training plan, a 12-week training plan, which you could probably condense down a little bit right now, but it covers off on a lot of the things that the kind of efforts you would need to make in virtual racing. So something to look into. Also, if you're not currently a Sufferfest subscriber, check out all that information down in the description below, as well as the workout is linked that we did today, and it is called the Rookie. Until then, we will be back here at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, and then 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday for a live Q&A with Colin Strickland and teammate Katie. That's going to be a really interesting conversation about DK 200, BWR, all things gravel, North American kind of racing scene and the transition and what's happening there. So definitely tune in for that. And then on Wednesday, it will be our normal cross training. So some strength and yoga, stretching type of stuff with Coach Susie Snyder. All right, everybody, be healthy and be happy, and catch up with you very soon. Take care.